Hello everybody, Danny or Maccam here. This is the first of a few videos I've made in my analysis of the offseason and the upcoming NBA season for, in this case, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They added, a lot of people see they added two superstars this season. They've got to be playoff bound now deeply. And all I can see instead of this two superstars they added is, oh look, they added two massive egos to the team with one already overly inflated ego in Russell Westbrook. That's gonna clash and explode badly. I can't see them really doing very well because of that. There's three ball-dominant guys. And of course, ball dominance means that, in other words, they want the ball in their hands, they expect the ball in their hands, and they're gonna expect just about every offensive play, especially in the clutch, to be ran through them. That's all they've had, each of them, for their careers. That's all they want, and that's all they demand, basically. And plus, other than Paul George, Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook are essentially just offensive-sided players. I mean, even Russell Westbrook still has yet to develop a truly quality three-point game, especially considering he's so athletic. He hasn't really figured out how to maintain a proper set of momentum when he goes for his jumpers. He just kind of flings himself way up in the air like a spring. It's gone haywire. Of course, we all know he's stupid athletic and he doesn't contain his athleticism, so when he darts to the hoop, somehow he's managed to figure out how to get himself to hit layups fairly consistently and even dunks through traffic and not lose the ball, even though he's wacky and circus-like when he tries to lay it up. He's actually, to me, he's just one of the biggest dorks in the entire league, just because he doesn't care to try either, is the thing. Which is a problem, because otherwise he won't really develop that consistent of outside game specifically from three. But his main number one issue, and always has been throughout his entire career, is his immense ego. It's one of the biggest the league has right now, and I would say it's probably comparable to Kobe's, and possibly as bad as, getting up there with the likes of Michael Jordan, who had the world's biggest ego ever, still does. But as you can tell, as I keep saying, basically, in various circumstances, the ego is going to be the biggest thing to watch, because if their ball dominance, therefore. Because I can't necessarily see them doing well. And instead of a Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant ball dominance with the sort of Pau Gasol kind of being a shadow in the background of a potential third ball dominant guy, who was always more of a team player, but he still got upset that season that they were all there. Because he dropped from, 18, 19 points a game, I think, down to like 13 or 14. He got really upset by that. But the thing with it is that this is worse because you have three massive egos. I mean, you think about the Miami Heat with Chris Bosh, Chris Bosh, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade, and those are three massive egos too. But even with their big egos, and they had their heated moments majorly, especially treating like Mario Chalmers like their little brother they like to harass all the time. Basically, it's, these three have bigger egos collectively, I think, than those guys, especially considering once they got on that team, they all had, at least in the back of their heads, that they needed to kind of give up some of that expectation to be the big guy to make the last play and the guy to make most plays. They needed to set aside their egos at least a fair amount. Not all the way, obviously, but a fair amount. And it took them quite a few seasons, obviously. That's why they only won 2 of the 4 seasons that LeBron was there. Because it took them about 2 seasons to finally chisel down their egos and their expectations. And, that's one of the really rare success stories when you put three ball-dominant superstars together on one team and expect them to not have a clash and have a fallout over who gets the final play, who gets the ball the most, who gets the most plays. You got to dump off your ego for team, and that's something Kobe really never did. And that's one of the major reasons why, especially after he broke his Achilles, people are like, no, we're not going to LA. But people said, oh, it's just his age, they know they're about to go into rebuild, they don't want to do anything. But the reality is, and so many players had said that when they asked, why did you decide ultimately to not go to LA? And they said, it's Kobe's ego. We're not willing to play with that guy because he's an egotistical maniac, basically. There's always a chance that they could end up being a rare case of success, but it's one single season. And one of the things I see being a problem there is the fact that it is one single season for Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, and the only thing I can see them looking at is, I'm not willing to stay in OKC. I don't care if we look like we could easily be a championship team. I'm getting out of here. It's frickin' Oklahoma. I don't want to be here. Who wants to be here? Who was there to do? Nothing. I can't see anybody really willing to stay in OKC, let alone enjoy it. It's just, no offense to Oklahomans, it's Oklahoma. It's kind of like Iowa. Who wants to be in Iowa? What is there to do there? Drive trucks and then drive a combine harvester down the freeway and harvest crops. Maybe run a roadside stand or work for AAA. That's about it. It's Iowa. And Oklahoma's kind of the same. I can't see anybody doing that. And then Carmelo Anthony, he's had a lot of speculation on why exactly did you choose to go to Oklahoma? Then, of course, a lot of Portlanders are like, well, he said it was going to be closer to his family, and technically it is. But, and of course, we like to be snide-ass realists about things, especially when we know it's going to get under people's skin. So, of course, we said, but the fact of the matter is he's in the Northwest Division in the Western Conference, which means he's 41 games. He's going to be playing on the West Coast. And he's going to have some of the most travel time just because he's dead center. So he's going to be traveling all the way to the Northwest, all the way to the Southwest, all the way up to the Northeast, all the way to the Southeast. He's going to be traveling all over the place, and then he's only going to be seeing teams in the East 2 times at most. And then here in for 41 games, and then here in the West Coast, he's going to be playing people in our division 4 times. That's what he's going to be doing. So he's technically going to be spending a lot more time in the West Coast than any other place. And then you got to think about traveling directly from the East Coast to the West Coast, hopping over OKC. You're going to be doing that probably pretty frequently during a season. So he's really not going to be really remotely, the only way he would have been remotely closer to his family and have more time with them is if he actually stayed in the Eastern Conference, and especially in the Central or Northeast Division, or your brother Atlantic divisions. That's the only way he would have actually, been able to actually do that. Otherwise, he's pretty much screwed because he's gonna. You're in the Western Conference, you're already gonna have basically no time, and especially in your Northwest Division, you're definitely not gonna have very much time because you're gonna be just about the furthest away possible from New York City. Although Los Angeles is further, but. Sides fact aside. So basically, in other words, it doesn't really make any sense that he's there in OKC, and so everybody sees him leaving as soon as possible. And then Paul George, everybody knows he's likely going to go to the Lakers, not because everybody's recruiting him there, which some people are citing is the only thing, but it's actually because of the fact he's been saying he wants to go back home. He wants to go back to Los Angeles, which is right near Fresno, where he came from, and where he calls home. Everybody knows he's just about guaranteed to end up in La La Land next season. So basically, like I said, that's another thing, is that these two are going to be at least partially focused, if not mostly focused on their game, just for this season so that they make their free agent stock rise even higher, so that they can get even higher pay and longer term contracts in the places they'd want to be. The testing the free agent market, so to speak, is definitely their number one anticipation. OKC doesn't make any sense to me that works out. It might, but it's going to last maybe this season, and that's about it. I'd be shocked if either of them, I think most people would be shocked if either Melo or PG ended up staying in OKC. So yeah, egos clashing, their ball dominance. Obviously, the fact that both Melo and PG are looking to go to different teams this coming offseason just about guaranteed. In fact, for Paul George, it is guaranteed. Melo is just about the fact that Oklahoma kind of has nothing to do and it's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I just don't see it working out really well. But as for the record, I feel like actually this team will somehow probably manage to get fair amount of wins over 41-41, unlike the Lakers, even if they have a huge set of clash and ego issues and all that, and ball dominance issues, and motivation issues for, obviously, again, Paul George and Melo, for, again, the reasons I've already stated. To me, it just seems like they're probably going to get upwards of, I would guess, probably around 48 wins is what I'm going to say. 48, maybe 50. Yeah, I'm going to say 54 at most. But if I'm not playing it super safe, then I'd say 52. 48 to 52 is the range of wins I expect them to have this coming season. That's even with their ego clashes. I don't really expect them to get too much under 48, though. I feel like they're still going to be a winning team. It's just that they're not going to get as far as people say they are, and they're not going to have as good of a record as people think they are. That's my analysis for this coming season for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
From NBA history, Russell kicks it to the corner, and he's got it. That is the stuff of legends right there. With his 42nd triple-double, Russell Westbrook has broken the single-season record established more than a half-century ago by Oscar Robertson. Russell, Euro stepping his way to the rim, and he scores. Thunder's out of timeouts. Adams gives it back to Russ. Deep shot.